Boxing Ego here. If you like this video, make sure you hit the like button and also subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon on the top of your screen to get notified when the latest new content drops. What up, fight world? It's your boy Ego and I'm back with some more boxing. Make sure you smash the like button, also subscribe to the channel for the latest and greatest in boxing. If you want to become part of the gang notification gang, please hit that bell icon. Shout out to the super chats, channel donations, Venmo, and the Patreon family. We working. Now, Rigondeaux, he tweeted the other day, I said it before and I repeat it now. On December 9th, my only opponent is not just Vasily Lomachenko. I am also fighting the system. Still, hashtag not afraid. And I understood what he meant by that. But what I just found out right now proves the legitimacy of that tweet. He is up against the system. Now, he posted on his page and he put the system and he put 3 thumbs down. So I'm like, okay, what's this about? And it's an ESPN article. So I went to the ESPN article, which I have linked in the description. It is in Spanish, so if you don't speak Spanish, then you probably won't be able to decode it. However, I'll paraphrase for you guys about what the article is about. So basically, from what I gather from the article, it's saying that if Rigondeaux loses to Vasily Lomachenko, then he drops from the ranking in his division that he's already at. So let me keep this transparent for you guys. Rigondeaux is moving up 2 weight classes to fight Vasily Lomachenko for the opportunity to prove himself, to Olympic 2-time gold medalist, etc. So he's taking a challenge, right? So he's supposed to fight in a WBA because he's a WBA champion, right, at 122. He's supposed to fight the guy he just beat that was later changed to a no contest, Chucky Moises Flores, right? It was supposed to be his mandatory. They're supposed to do a rematch. But obviously, duty calls. This is an opportunity where he can make more money and he can prove himself more than the fight we just seen where the guy kind of flopped and played dead, you know what I mean, in Moises Flores, right? So he got an exception for boxing because this is a big fight for boxing, ESPN coverage, etc. with ESPN. So now the WBA is saying if he wins and beats Lomachenko up there, right? If he beats him, then he has 5 days to determine if he's going to move back down to 22, if he's going to stay at 30, if he's going to move to 126. But if he loses, they're saying that he just drops from the rankings as a champion, which is crazy to me, right? Crazy to me. And this is proof that Rigondeaux is really truly fighting the system. Now, I've known the WBA, I mean, I don't know them, but I've known them to do funny style stuff. Rigondeaux got stripped before. I think it was with the WBA, maybe it was with the WBO, but it's just, I mean, decisions like this is crazy. To put it in perspective, this is a good analogy that I can think of. So imagine Eddie Hearn calls Kell Brook, says, hey, Chris Eubank and Eubank Sr. are tripping. We were trying to make a push through a fight with them and Gennady Golovkin. It's not happening. And then Kell Brook was like, I'll take it, basically, right? Kell Brook was the IBF welterweight champion. He says, I'll move up to middleweight and fight Triple G for the same deal you were going to give Chris Eubank, right? And that September they made the fight. Now, Triple G obviously beat Kell Brook. You know what I mean? You can say Kell Brook exposed some vulnerabilities. But Kell Brook, inevitably at the end, he was stopped. His corner threw in the towel. 5th round, if I'm not mistaken. And he lost the fight. So that would be like the IBF saying, you know what, even though you lost at middleweight, we're stripping you. You don't get that IBF belt. And then sanctioning like Errol Spence versus Leonard Bundu or something. Or Konstantin Ponomarev for a vacant title fight. That would be the equivalent. You know what I'm saying? But you notice the IBF granted Kell Brook an exception and said, okay, fight Golovkin. It's a big paycheck. It's a big fight, money fight, I guess you could say, for boxing, and it's an opportunity. But we're not going to, like, you know what I mean, we're going to work with you. So if you want to come back to welterweight, then you have our blessing, basically. And that's what the fuck happened. So we wouldn't have had Kell Brook versus Errol Spence this year if the IBF acted like what the WBA is doing with Rigondeaux. You guys get me? right? And not on top of that, Kell Brook sustained an injury when he fought Gennady Golovkin, an injury to his eye. You know what I mean? The orbital was fractured or cracked. So he couldn't even defend against Errol Spence Jr. that year. So Errol Spence had a 9-month layoff. Kell Brook was able to, through the IBF, request a medical extension to prolong his mandatory because he had sustained an injury. So clearly the IBF worked with Kell Brook, because they could have just been like, first of all, you went to middleweight. No one told you to do that. Second of all, you got injured. Now you can't fulfill your duties as a welterweight champion. We're stripping you. You know what I mean? We're not approving your medical extension. But clearly, they worked with Kell Brook and seen him through, made sure he was healthy. When he came back healthy, they made sure that he had to fight. If he's going to stay at welterweight, he had to fight Kell Brook, or he had to fight Errol Spence, and that's what happens. But what the WBA is saying with Rigondeaux is, if he loses, then he basically, it's like he loses twice, because he loses to Lomachenko at 130, and naturally, if you lose to a guy 2 divisions higher, right, if you moved up in a gang of weight in one fell swoop, most likely you're going to move back down, i.e. Kell Brook versus Golovkin didn't work out, he moved back down, i.e. Amir Khan, when he moved up to fight Canelo, he didn't stay at 54 because he got knocked out, you know what I'm saying? So he said he's moving back down to 47, even though he hasn't come back yet, you know what I mean? So rightfully, if Rigondeaux does lose to Lomachenko, especially if he loses bad, he'll probably drop back down to his more natural weight of 122. And guess what the WBA or the system is saying? The system is saying, we don't have a belt for you if you lose. You know what I mean? Only in the event that you win up there at 130 will we honor your belt. And you have to tell us within 5 days what you're trying to do. That's crazy to me. You know what I mean? Like, I don't understand how Rigondeaux just gets this raw deal like this. You know what I mean? I think he had a WBO belt, got stripped for inactivity, can't get a fight with the big name. Then he finally gets a fight with the big name, and guess what? He has to move up 2 weight divisions to do it. They treat Rigondeaux so terrible in this sport. NewMedia, man, we got to talk about it. You know what I mean? He was with Caribe Promotions in association with Top Rank as a co-promoter, and I feel like Bob Arum constantly was speaking down on Rigondeaux. HBO wants to throw up anytime I mention the name Rigondeaux. Like, HBO network didn't want, like, that's crazy. Making it like he's some virus or plague. Like, he's a good fighter. He just dethroned your cash cow, Nonito Donaire. That should be celebrated. But instead of being celebrated, he actually got blackballed, tarred and feathered, and condemned. And now if he loses to Lomachenko, then he loses his position at 122, which doesn't make sense to me, because Moises Flores, to me, it looked like he flopped. I was at the fight live, Ward Kovalev 2 co-main event. It looked like he flopped. Looked like he could have continued, but he was pressing, hoping to get a disqualification, and he didn't want no more smoke. That's what it looked like to me. You know what I'm saying? So he's the mandatory, so you're going to put him in a fight with someone lesser for a vacant belt just to strip Rigondeaux if he loses? Man, it makes it kind of hard. Like, I have nothing against Lomachenko, but I'm gonna be honest, like, when I'm a big fan of underdog stories. You know what I'm saying? So when I see stuff like this happen, it definitely makes me want to root for the underdog, as a boxing fan. You know what I mean? Shout out to Lomachenko if he wins. Shout out to Rigondeaux if he wins. It's nothing against them personally, but I love a good underdog story. When I see the amounting like pressure and the way things are handled, it's just, I can't understand it for the life of me. You know what I mean? Rigondeaux, he had to basically troll Lomachenko, him and his handlers or whatever, daily, and then finally the fight was made. You know what I mean? But he had been calling out Frampton, Quigg, Leo Santa Cruz, couldn't get any of those fights, and those guys were closer in weight to him, right? And not 2-time gold medalists like Lomachenko. But to get a big fight, he has to fight a 2-time gold medalist 2 divisions higher than him. And then on top of that, you have the WBA who's saying, hey, if you lose, it's over, Dozer. That, to me, that's shitty. That's very shitty, and I don't understand why Rigondeaux, a skillful fighter, doesn't really bother nobody. handles his business in the ring. I don't understand why he's treated like this. My thoughts. Let me know what you guys think. Drop your thoughts in the comment section. Make sure you smash the like button. As always, hate, comment, and subscribe. Till next video is Ego signing off. So if you enjoyed this video and want more content like this on the channel, you can show your appreciation by going to the PayPal donate button or the YouTube support button, and you can donate any amount that you feel is equivalent to the value of this video. Much more to come. Thank you guys for your support. Boxing Ego, the future of boxing.